The House is Now Divided with your resident Michigan fan, Marcus Sewell, and your resident fan of the Ohio State University, Josh a.k.a. JTG. College football has been absolutely nuts this past week.
Wow. A lot of wild stuff happened this weekend.
A lot of close calls, a lot of losses.
Upsets, yeah.
Yeah. So, where do we even begin?
Okay. So I can address our trash bright and early.
Ooh. Wait, let me introduce it as Michigan. Wait, who'd you guys play again?
Bowling Green, 31-7 or 31-6. Excuse me.
You got it.
2 field goals. Look. So, because as I was watching this game, I think my description will be a little bit different from what it is now. As big of a disaster that it felt, I think it would be equally disastrous to then be like, okay, let's start sounding the alarm bells. Because the sample size that we have to the contrary of anything that was negative in this game is so much bigger that we have towards the positive. So right off the bat, JJ McCarthy, 3 interceptions. I don't know if we'll get that, especially versus a team like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it felt like the first one, probably just a good play. He didn't see it. Guy was tracking him the whole way, fell off at the last minute and picked him off. Sherrone Moore said the route was too deep at halftime when they asked him about it. I don't know about all that. Either way, didn't look like he saw him. The second one was a terrible throw. It was awful. It was underthrown. The DB undercut it, took it from him. And then the last one, which let me know that it was just a fucking terrible night and he probably needed to just go sit down, was the one where he said he was trying to throw the ball out of bounds and dude Charles Woodson did out the air. And it was like, okay, go sit him down now. Yeah. Like, it's getting ugly. Let's just stop this.
Yeah.
Like, it's obviously not his night. The running game had gotten way better, which was so disappointing. Because, like, we finally started to get the running game on track. Donovan Edwards even had some decent runs. They weren't long 20-yard runs. They were, let me stick my nose up in here and get 6 yards so I can get some positive momentum going yards, which was encouraging because now at least he's making the right decisions. That's step 1. Step 2 is let's start breaking a few of those so we can get some longer runs. But the first step of that was making sure he was putting his head in the right position where he was going where he needed to go. All of that was encouraging. But then the turnovers just kind of make your stomach turn. Even the touchdown pass to Cornelius Johnson,
he fumbled it.
It didn't feel right, man. Like he said, well, I knew I had a guy on him who was covering him with the cast, so I was just trying to give CJ a chance. That don't mean put it in jeopardy. That mean throw it up.
Bro almost picked that off.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was too much shit going on. He was trying to do too much. I didn't particularly like the play calling this game, which was weird because Sherrone Moore was back and he was supposed to be the head guy. I don't want to read too much into it about his head coaching ability, but it just wasn't the greatest first half. And then some of the stuff that was wrong bled over into the second half, even though we were still scoring. It was just a very odd game to kind of watch. I was watching it on the road. I was visiting family yesterday. We kind of left Cleveland during halftime, so I caught the tail end of the game. Like on my phone, and then as I was pulling back up, the Colorado game was starting. So, but it felt weird, but at the same time, to have a take like, oh well, now Michigan's not favored to win the Big Ten. Oh, now Michigan doesn't look like the Big Ten and the best team in the Big Ten from this week. Like, you know. That you coming on strong, yeah, man. You're being very reactionary,
yeah.
And so like I don't want to be that, even though I was feeling a little bit of that in the moment as it was happening. Taking some time to step back from it and realizing this is week 3 of an out of conference game versus a clearly inferior opponent. Shout out to Scott Loeffler, you know, but an inferior opponent that you still ended up beating by 3 scores.
And JJ's allowed to have a bad game.
I think 1. Like, now it's a little disappointing even still because of the streak that he was on, and a lot of other guys. Well, I don't know. We'll talk about it because you would like to say the guys around him performed well. but there was a lot of struggles from the top 5 this weekend from virtually all the quarterback. Well, maybe I didn't see Caleb Williams play.
I didn't either.
I didn't see him play, but everybody else in the top 5 and all of those quarterbacks that were vying for like Heisman, blah 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 blah, outside of maybe Penix and Bo Nix, kind of had slower motors to go. Aller struggled mightily. I don't give a shit about the stat line. Don't care about the final score. If you watch the game from start to finish and you saw him without a running game and getting pressure, totally different quarterback.
That's just like West Virginia.
Totally different quarterback. The Colorado game, right? I stayed up to 2 o'clock in the morning to watch that game with the double overtime.
I did too.
I stayed up to watch that game. It went on so long that I had forgotten that Colorado was an 11-point favorite over that team. And the coach told Prime to pull his pants up and straighten up his fucking collar when he talked to him. So I'm expecting a fucking blowout. Travis Hunter or no Travis Hunter, even though that was a dirty fucking play.
It was.
It was a dirty fucking play, and I'd hate to think that was directed for that, but it changed the complexity of the game.
I think they were actually favorites for higher than that. I think they were 20-point favorites, but
they were multiple score favorites in this game.
Yeah.
So the fact that it was this close, again, I like Colorado. I like Shedeur Sanders. Shiloh was shutting me the fuck up this game. Shiloh shut me the hell up.
Pick six
and a
even
forced
though he
fumble.
got hawked.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's not the fastest, but he had a pick six. He had a forced fumble. He was making plays this game for sure. He was making plays.
Absolutely.
So I wanted the praise to be as loud as the disrespect. He was definitely showing out.
Hopefully he's going higher on that list of kids for Deion Sanders.
Jimmy Horn and Weaver, guys that we forgot about a couple weeks ago when we mentioned Darius Dawson. But they got a lot of good guys, and they got guys that you want to root for. I can't not see the offensive line play. Right? And you can't survive like that. You can't. Like, TCU, Nebraska, Colorado State. Colorado State's probably the worst team out of those three. It's a toss-up between them and Nebraska. Sure. They're definitely not TCU.
Yeah.
Definitely not TCU. And I think they have more competent quarterback play, so maybe I give them the slight nudge over Nebraska. But, I mean, it is a coin flip.
Mm-hmm.
It's a coin flip. Because of what Nebraska has on defense, what they have offensively outside of quarterback.
Yeah.
It's comparable. I think maybe Colorado State has a little bit wide receivers. But I'm saying these aren't good teams.
Yeah. Yep.
You can't survive like that. They got Oregon next week. So there will be no more, okay, how did they do against this level anymore? That'll be an adequate enough test to tell me whether or not the way that they play is sustainable. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel that way. Not to mention, they were up 11 deep into the fourth quarter. The fact that they even gave that lead up was fortunate.
And probably
the fact that we're playing extra time is fortunate. 7 minutes left to go, up by 11. You got about an 80% chance of losing that game.
Yeah. And losing that lead speaks to their talent level. But they were definitely playing up for Colorado.
So he knew what he said. I think he knew he fucked up Norvell. Yeah. And so he was like, I can't go in here and get folded. Yeah, I can't go in here and get folded, man. We're going to have to fight because unfortunately your coach put his fucking big toe in his mouth.
Taking them to overtime is commendable, though.
Do you know Norvell has coached for 13 different teams?
I did not know that.
The man is a mercenary. First of all,
that's crazy.
He was on UConn's roster last year when we played UConn in the non-conference. He was UConn's head coach. The man is an absolute mercenary.
Yikes.
He will go anywhere. You got a check for me? I'll be there on Tuesday. Well, coach, we haven't announced you. I will be there on Tuesday.
Did you see that their kicker, Colorado State's kicker, is 31 with a wife and kids?
Hey, I fucking hollered when I heard that. Tia was sitting next to me, and I was like, man, they ain't had to say that. It was like, here comes this old-ass fucking kicker. He's got a wife and kids. 3 of them. It's old as shit.
Oh, man. Crazy.
God damn.
That was kind of wild.
Both of their kickers sucked. Like, that game got really ugly at the end of regulation. It got really disgusting looking.
Yep.
They were turning the ball over, getting turnovers on downs. Colorado could not run the ball again. I think I maybe saw 2 running plays from Dylan Edwards last night that was worth a damn.
Definitely didn't go
Like,
to that at all. Well,
Shedeur Sanders literally had to lift that offense and put it on his shoulders. When he wasn't making a pinpoint throw, he was running the ball. They gotta come up. You gotta come up with something, some kind of answer. Max protect more. Has got to be a back on that roster that can stand in and pass block. And I know he doesn't want that. He likes to go 5 wide a lot to maximize the wide receivers. But fam, you have not even. You might have just scratched the surface of the type of pass rush you're going to face down the line with Colorado State. Oregon State and Dan Lanning, they're going to be coming after your ass. Right? For all UFC's problems, getting pressure really isn't one. They can get pressure.
Yeah.
And that's not even talking about Washington, who has a bigger defensive line than their offensive line. Or do they have to play Utah this season?
Probably.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to get worse. It's going to get much worse. In a double overtime win versus a team that you were picked to beat by 2 scores. It's hype. The energy is there. This team won 1 game last season. So just by nature that he's tripled that by now, it's awesome. We're kind of building up for this huge letdown, though, if you're not looking at the games and watching them all the way through. Because, man, the problems are still there, and they're there versus lesser teams who may or may not be able to exploit it when they want to. But they definitely exploited it a lot in this game, man. It's like you got to do a better job of protecting him. So, like, some of those downs, maybe it's worth not having an extra wide receiver on there so you can keep a tight end and a running back in to protect.
Yeah, the tight end's good, though. The tight end caught a, two-point conversion and a touchdown at the end?
Yeah. That catch he had in the 4th, that last touchdown they scored where he, like, grabbed it damn near off the ground. Dude dove after it. I'm like, shit, that was a good catch.
Yeah.
That was a really good catch. Also, Shedeur has been really good versus base defense this season, and in the first half of that game he couldn't figure it out. He could not figure it out. They really had him frustrated through an interception. So yeah, man, we'll see where it goes. Still encouraged by everything that I'm seeing, but I just feel like we're headed for a letdown because of what's already on film for them and the still upgrades and competition that they have on their schedule. It's not like they've gotten anywhere near the top in terms of competition that they're going to face this season.
Sure. To bring it all the way back to Michigan, this week, Jim Harbaugh is obviously coming back. And we just saw JJ have a bad game. Do you think against Rutgers, they're going to go back to focusing on establishing the run and, obviously a lot more?
So
Blake
Rutgers has
Corum
been
and
playing
Donovan
good
Edwards?
ball. Rutgers has actually been playing good ball. I think they're 3-0, and the defenses look pretty good. So I expect them to try to take the run away right off the jump. I don't think they're going to have the opportunity to say, okay, let's kind of take the weight off of JJ this week and let him work himself in. I think the game is going to dictate that they throw the ball early right now and do it now. I think that's what the game is going to dictate. So gift and a curse, right? Curse in that you don't have time to rest on your laurels and kind of work them back into rhythm. But a gift because he's going to be forced to perform right now. Like from jump, the following week, we're going to ask you to be what you had been the first 2 weeks. So, and if he's the guy we think he is, he should be able to rise to the occasion. I don't think that Greg Schiano, though, is going to sit there and die by a million cuts and just have them bleed the clock out all night. So, hey, surprise, surprise, Tennessee sucks.
Yeah,
Tennessee sucks.
Fucking stomped on by fucking Florida.
Like
the
Jesus.
SEC sucks.
The SEC sucks. They do. Who just beat the shit out of Mississippi State? Who was that? Was that Florida State? No. Florida State almost lost too, but we'll get to them in a second.
Yeah. Mississippi State. It was LSU, I think.
Was it LSU? Okay. There was another out of conference game with the SEC team that was pretty embarrassing.
Georgia struggled. Bama clearly struggled.
Oh, yeah, Bama and fucking was that Tulane or Tulsa? Who was that? Tulane? Southern Florida.
USF, yep.
They played Southern Florida 17-3. Oh my God.
It was 10-3 for the longest.
They have a problem. They have a real problem. Tyler Buckner sucks. Milrose sucks.
Buckner's
Everybody
awful.
sucks down there.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody sucks.
So do you just go with Simpson then, or?
But
A better team is going to make you pay for that.
Is he better than the two quarterbacks in front of him? It's one thing to say, hey, we're going to get the young guy ready. But if the young guy isn't anywhere near what Milroe or Buckner is, and they given what they given, this is a disaster season for Alabama.
It is.
This is a disaster.
Because, again, a tougher team is going to make you pay for all of that.
And you had a very controversial pick at offensive coordinator. You went with your boy out of Notre Dame,
Reese.
Tommy Reese, and there were a lot of people in the zeitgeist that felt like he wasn't a legitimate offensive coordinator before he got the job at Alabama. So you may got a double whammy. You ain't got no quarterbacks, and your offensive coordinator is stale. Jesus, what are you going to do, Nick?
You're
The
going to
hell are
play
you gonna
tougher
do?
SEC competition, so it's going to be rough.
But
LSU.
hey, this is that is the second best team in the SEC. In the entire conference, they're the second best team.
Yeah, behind another team that also struggled in Georgia.
Like no. Let's think about that right now for a second, please. Let's just pause here and let's all take a roll call. The second best team in the SEC, which is still Alabama, it's sure as hell not LSU.
Right.
Sure as hell not LSU.
Mm-hmm. It's not Tennessee.
It's not Tennessee. It's not South Carolina.
No.
For all of the strides that they seem to be making as a program, they just cannot do it on the football field. They can't win the games.
Mm-hmm.
What are you taking flyers on fucking Florida?
Nope.
Florida?
Nope. Who lost to Utah?
Maybe you'll have some takers on Ole Miss.
No.
You might.
Yes, maybe,
You'll
but
maybe have some takers on Ole Miss. You think
they're
Ole
not.
Miss is better than Alabama? They look better.
Ooh, that's a good question.
They look better.
That's a solid question.
So is Ole Miss the second best team in the SEC now?
Even if they are, that just means the SEC is not good.
I have both Ohio State and Michigan by multiple scores over Ole Miss currently. By multiple touchdowns. But I mean,
I have Penn State beating Ole Miss.
It's just me.
It'd probably be a closer game, but
They seem to have abandoned the what they had established there in a like a really steady running game, and now they're a passing team and can't run the ball. So it's like, oh, how long was Lane Kiffin actually going to be the running coach anyways? You know,
for sure.
For
Sure. But yeah, man,
SEC is in shambles, fam.
literally South Carolina had Georgia down 14-3 at the half, and then they lost it in the second half. I don't know what happened.
You know who's better? You know who's second best? It's Mizzou, bro. Mizzou just beat Kansas State on the last second field goal. It's Mizzou.
Crazy.
Nah, yeah, Georgia struggled a lot of bit.
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler is a really talented guy. If South Carolina could amass 5 individuals that can at least hold two Mississippi, they might be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, what they have is a bunch of unathletic big guys who don't seem interested in keeping the other team from touching their quarterback at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that's going to lead to a problem for Spencer Rattler. Yeah, I don't know what to make of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to make of that. Like, is South Carolina better than what their record shows, or is Georgia in trouble to a certain degree? Like,
I think it's a little bit of both. I'll be honest with you.
their performance, Georgia's performance, I was thinking coming into our game, like, damn, we can mess around and be number one if we just handle our business. I said that. We just handle our business. And you know what? I actually blame myself for our game. Because this was the first time I bet on our money line, and I bet on one of the passing statistics for JJ. It was supposed to be 3 touchdowns. The line was 2.5. And it was supposed to be, 41 points, I think was the spread. And I bet on the spread, and they didn't hit on either one of them. So I blame myself. And I'm going to refrain from touching any other Michigan games for the rest of the season because that was a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
That was an absolute disaster.
But look at your disaster versus...
Yeah, no, there were teams that lost. You know, there were teams that lost. If you're Tennessee, boy, where do you go from here?
Yeah.
Is it Nico time? I think it may be Nico time.
Possibly.
And then this is definitely fool's gold for Florida because, no, you still suck. No. You still suck.
Yeah.
You still suck.
Yep. It's
Haven't forgotten about Utah. Haven't forgotten the next week against, who did they play?
Florida.
Yeah. They played a small team and didn't look all that impressive after they played Utah.
Florida
got blown out.
plays Charlotte.
Charlotte, yes. Michigan South. Shout out to Michigan South.
Yeah, man, the SEC is god awful right now, and it's obvious that the second team is Kentucky because they just beat Akron.
Look how fast that happened, though.
Yeah.
SEC is the best conference in football. It's not even close. SEC is the best conference in football. It's not even close. And Jesus. Good God.
In 3 weeks.
Good God. What else? Who else played? Oh, we were talking about Drew Aller at Penn State. The different looking guy, man. Different looking guy when he doesn't have a running game. And shout out to KJ Hamler. Shout out to all the wideouts that they got over there at Penn State, because the stats and the score are going to hide some things from you that if you actually watch the game, Johnny Newton in that defensive line dominated that game. Anytime Penn State had the ball, Johnny Newton in the Illinois defensive line were holding up. Now, once again, similar to what happened with Nebraska and Colorado, right? Nebraska's defense is playing lights out, but similar to what happened to them, their quarterback just had the case of, here, you take them, and threw 4 interceptions.
Yep.
Like, Luke Ockmeyer absolutely diarrhea flowed down his leg on Saturday. It was an embarrassing thing to watch.
Yeah.
It was pretty fucking bad. And the only thing that was worse than that was watching Bielema trot him out there for 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
Like 2's not enough? Versus a top 10 team, 2 interceptions, 2 bad interceptions is not enough to get him out of there, and then had the nerve to bring in the backup in the fourth quarter when they got blown out. I'm like, oh, you're not being serious, man. What is up with you quarterbacks, or excuse me, you coaches, and you laying on these first-year starters like they're guys who have earned the right not to be pulled and be able to throw 4 interceptions and completely throw a game away for you? That is incompetence, Bielema. Come on. You expect so much from your players, and I'm saying that specifically to him because he's a guy who does deal with his players in the media. He will talk about negative things about his players in the media. So if you're going to do that, fam, you got to have the balls to pull a guy when he clearly doesn't have it. And he didn't have it.
If only he had a Tommy DeVito right about now.
Something. He needed something. But I also watched, part of the Western Kentucky Ohio State scrimmage.
We'll get to that in just a second. I just wanted to mention the fact that Penn State is playing Iowa next week. And so if Drew Aller comes and plays like he did against Illinois or how he played against Western Virginia, Iowa's a team that's going to, their defense is going to make him pay.
I think Iowa actually has a chance to win this game.
I agree.
What I've seen out of Drew Aller in the first 3 weeks, Iowa has a legitimate chance to win this game.
Yeah.
The 2 things that they can't happen, though, they can't get fucking gear stuck at 24 points, which is what's happened the last couple of weeks, and then they were able to kind of push the lead further here this last one against who were they playing?
Iowa State?
That was last week.
Who they play this week?
They beat somebody like 41-10. So it was probably not a conference school.
Iowa played Western Michigan.
Western Michigan, yeah. So they can't get stuck at 24 points. Like, you can't get stuck in the mid-20s and expect something to go your way or expect the defense to hold the other team to 17 points all game. It's not going to happen. You can't do that. And if you sit up there and you try to win that way, Penn State will score late. You won't be able to, and that'll be the game. They need some defensive scores, at least one. They need to score 30 points offensively. They need to get pressure on Drew Aller, not the same quarterback. And in all honesty, it didn't seem like it was all that hard for Illinois to be able to get interior pressure. Now, I know that the Illinois has very good defensive lines. I just happen to think that they're not as good as Michigan's. So if they're able to get pressure, I think other teams that are underneath Michigan probably will be able to get pressure there, which would be like Iowa.
I haven't seen Iowa play yet, and from everything I'm seeing of Cade McNamara's game, it was ugly. Like they won 41-10, but it looked ugly. 2 picks, 2 touchdowns. The leading receiver, Eric All, 1 catch, 34 yards. Like it's.
I mean, but that's Iowa offense, though.
Yeah.
Right, and if you can score 28 points offensively, and then maybe a defensive score out of that, they have a chance. I just don't know if I can depend on the 4 touchdowns from the offense. I do not know.
My question is, where's Caleb Brown in all this?
That is a question for sure. But I'd have to assume they brought him there to play. So if he's not playing, he's probably not ready or can't play.
From what I've seen, he's played, but he hasn't recorded any stats.
Let me rephrase this. They brought him there to play.
Yeah.
So if he hasn't done anything, it's because he hasn't done anything.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have to assume he's at least a decent option to go to.
And newsflash on Cade McNamara that unless Caleb wants to play the slot, I don't know how much he was expecting to see the ball anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Cade is not a throw outside the numbers kind of guy.
Yeah.
So anyways, I think that Iowa Penn State is going to be a watch out game for next week for sure.
I'm excited to watch it because like I said, I also want to see Iowa. But Penn State's going to be a good game too. Or Penn State's going to be a team to watch too. All right. Seems like you're ready for me to talk about Ohio State versus Western Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Going into this game, obviously everybody's thinking about the fact that, Western Kentucky likes to sling it. They like to pass the ball. So it'd be a good test to see if our defense is really who we think they are. After coming out of the game, I still need to see them play a tough team, and it's going to come down to Notre Dame regardless.
Yeah,
but the defense still looked
getting looks versus inferior offensive lines, and then still having, like, when I watch Kyle McCord play, I wonder what it would look like without Marv. I wonder what it would look like without the security blankets of 60, 70-yard touchdowns to make the stats look very nice and pretty.
That's a fair thing to say.
It's I see that stat line and I expect to turn on the film and see a dominant performance, and it never looks like that. It does not. It has not looked like that all season from either quarterback. So I turned it off once it seemed like Western Kentucky had tucked their tail and stopped fighting. Yeah. And I think the score ended up being like 63 or something like that.
63-7.
Yeah, see, like
time, touchdowns and stuff like that.
That game wasn't like that. That wasn't a 63-0 or 63-10 or whatever the score was kind of game. If you saw that game in the first half, Western Kentucky was able to move the ball. Now, they didn't have a kicker.
They didn't really
capitalize. They were definitely afraid of running the ball in short yardage, even though they frequently had Ohio State in 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 1s.
Yeah.
Which are dominant positions. Those are where you want to be.
Yeah.
I do not understand this thing of like go 5 wide and throw the ball on 3rd and 2. What the fuck is that? What kind of football is that?
Mm-hmm.
What game are you playing? Like we just start spawning fucking Jake Fromm's?
Yeah, why not?
The hell is this?
Yeah, I agree with you about Kyle McCord's stat line being a little enhanced by Marvin Harrison.
Long touchdowns, man, and that happened in the Indiana game. It was like, yeah, I guess it looks okay, but
my problem with that is, I mean, unless something crazy happens, he's going to have Marvin Harrison. So like, that's going to be a thing that you're going to have to game plan for.
You're always going to have to deal with them. But what do we do if we can double them and take them away? Where are you going to go now?
Kate Stover, or maybe Egbuka. But that has yet to be seen yet because
I think the other two
we're playing
guys
inferior teams.
I think the other two guys are guys that traditionally you can play one-on-one if you have good enough defenders. So I don't know. Definitely K Stover you can guard him one-on-one.
Maybe.
Egbuka is a plus receiver. We can go ahead and do away with that whole second best wide receiver in the country shit.
Why?
We can put it in the back because Keon Coleman is the second best receiver in the country.
Yeah, stat wise.
Like bona fide. bona fide.
For sure.
I'm giving deference to Marvin Harrison Jr. because of the year he had last year to say he's still number one.
He's definitely number one.
Because it's debatable.
He's definitely number one.
It is debatable right now.
Definitely
I mean, there are people all over the country right now who could be talking about
Marvin Harrison Jr. is number one.
If you feel that way, you certainly have a lot of stats and a lot of film to back it up. I'm just saying there are other guys around the country who can stake that claim right now.
And talent-wise, I still think Ibuka is number two. Now, stat-wise, Keon Coleman is clearly ahead of him.
He's dogging. Shit, the guy from Colorado State last night is fucking killing it right now.
Sure. But
Shit,
Ibuka is the number
Jimmy
two
Horn
receiver.
and Travis Hunter both have 400 yards receiving, or just under 400 yards receiving right now. So it ain't like what they're doing at Ohio State is being unmatched. There's a lot of good receivers.
Ibuka is the number two receiver
and then
in
plus,
the country. Talent-wise.
Neither one of your boys lead the conference in touchdown catches this year.
Sure.
Who does?
Roman Wilson.
The Roman Empire. Storming Roman Wilson.
Gross.
The Flying Hawaiian.
One quarterback has more interceptions than the other.
He has a few more than he. Well, hold on now.
McCoy got one.
He has two, doesn't he?
He's got one.
Okay. Would you like to bet on end of season?
No, get out of here.
Okay, thank you. I was about to say.
Anyway, no, I'm happy about the win against Western Kentucky. It confirmed everything that everybody was kind of looking for. The defense still looks good. Again, it's against Western Kentucky, so I need to see them against Notre Dame. I'm excited going into Notre Dame.
Pause before you get to Notre Dame. This Jordan Hancock shit. What's going on with
Igbenogson?
Yeah,
He got burned.
but he's not starting. So is Jordan Hancock?
I think I don't know if they've made a decision on that.
And I've seen a lot of Cam Martinez. Y'all keep telling me that, it's okay, he's not going to play anymore. I've seen a lot of Cam Martinez in these first three games.
I think when it boils down to it, you may not see
Okay,
him as
y'all
much.
keep telling me that he's just not going to play after playing all this time. It doesn't seem like he's going anywhere.
You
Also,
may not see him as much.
you keep making me look for these names. Where the hell's CJ Hicks?
They are not playing CJ.
What happened to CJ Hicks?
They are not playing CJ Hicks
At all.
In fact, I think they're playing backup linebackers more than they're
More than
playing
they're playing CJ Hicks. What's going on?
Like, I understand Tommy Eichenberg, Steel Chambers. They're playing guys like, why can't I think of his name now? They're playing other linebackers ahead of him, and that's kind of concerning. But maybe they're holding off until tougher teams, but probably not. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm just be honest with you.
I can't really remember how your guys' pass rush was this weekend, but any concern
It wasn't bad, but it's going to need to be a hell of a lot better.
That's what I'm saying.
Against Joe Alt and some of the other linemen that they have on Notre Dame.
Well, you got Hartman coming in there next week. You obviously want to get some pressure on him.
Yes. And I think that's going to come from guys like Sonny Styles and some of the other. They're going to have to blitz linebackers,
which is dangerous, man. When a quarterback that's playing how Hartman is right now, you don't want to have to blitz him. You don't want to have to send extra guys.
You got to do that. You got to get some pressure on him.
He's really good against blitz. He's been really good against blitz.
But from who?
Sure. It hasn't been Ohio State, but I'm just saying you would really like to be able to get there with four.
I agree.
Really be able to do it with four.
I say you take a minute to kind of assess what the defensive line is doing. If you need more pressure, you're going to have to do it.
Like we really got to start having this conversation about, oh man, Ohio State, the defensive line's filled with studs, first round draft picks, JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer. No. You got to show me that at some point,
They're not
fam.
making it happen.
You got to show it at some point. At some point, they got to come out like gangbusters and not give me 2 picks, but 2 sacks in a game, and then double it up with another sack at another game.
The ends are not making it happen. Tyreek Williams and Mike Hall Jr. seem to be doing
Mike Hall
good.
isn't even starting
He's
anymore.
not. Tyreek Williams is.
What the fuck is
But
happening?
Tyreek Williams is also doing pretty good.
Okay, good for him, but what happened to the front where both of them were playing?
I don't know
Like,
what the game plan
fuck
is for
happening?
Notre Dame, okay? But I have to believe some of these guys are going to get brought in to, bring in different looks against Notre Dame. Things that they're not expecting whatsoever. I have to believe that at this point, because what was the hype for in the offseason then? So I don't know. I look forward to it though. DBs are looking amazing. Denzel Burke is looking like that guy this season. And so I'm happy to see what he's going to do against Notre Dame. I'm happy to see Jermaine Matthews get a fucking pick 6 in the last game. So even when Denzel Burke goes to the league, it's still going to be Jermaine Matthews and Calvin Simpson-Hunt. I'm excited for that. And then after that, it's Bryce West and Aaron Scott. So
yikes.
BIA is back. You know what I'm saying?
Blouse boy.
BIA is back,
Blouse boy. You're not BIA now.
No, well, here's
not BIA currently. How is BIA back?
The problem will be if that defensive line can get things going, then the DBs are going to look even better. So we'll have to see what happens with that.
I'm anticipating this game.
I am too, man. I'm ready. Bring on Sam Hartman.
So Travion, RB1 again?
Yeah,
or y'all just gonna run stretch zone every play then?
But Chip looks still good. Like, I don't know what it is, but yeah, no, Travion's that guy.
So we're just gonna do toss sweep and zone, outside zone, every running play.
I don't know.
So we can get Travion the ball.
Also,
because it's like the only running play he can run.
Travion, stop hopping over people. You're scaring me.
Bruh,
stop hurdling people.
Hurdled for a 2-yard game.
Yeah, no, that was crazy.
And was hyped though, like he he won the fucking Super Bowl.
That was crazy, but he did it again.
2-yard game. Woo!
But he did it again this game and got more yardage out of it. But you're scaring me. You're scaring me a little bit. But I like it.
Somebody is waiting for the opportunity to plant him like Sheldon Brown did Reggie Bush.
Relax a little bit.
Go through him like cardboard.
Now people are like, oh, Chip needs to be RB2 instead of mine. I'm like,
oh, that was quick.
You know?
That was quick.
Well, they were saying he needs to be RB1 ahead of Travion after the first game.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think my guys are ready for Notre Dame, and I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it.
We gonna find out.
Notre Dame hasn't played anybody like us, boy.
Okay.
And we're ready. Let's go.
Hey, listen. All I'm gonna say is that the Big Ten, I think for the most part, has avoided high-profile losses in the non-con like the SEC has, right, and like the ACC has.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, their high-profile loss was a conference game. That was Duke and Clemson, Dabo's cousins. Let's just not embarrass ourselves, right? Go up there and have a good showing. Don't embarrass yourselves, okay?
Embarrass ourselves is crazy.
I'm just asking a question, asking a favor from a fellow Big Ten member. Do not embarrass us. Go up there and compete. And everything else beyond competing, we will hash out here on the pod. Win, lose, or draw, or whatever. There won't be any draws, but win or lose.
We will.
Do not go out there and get blown the fuck up, because it feels like the recipe for Notre Dame to not just beat y'all, but to kind of expose y'all is there. They have a running game. They can get after the quarterback. They can exploit the weaknesses on your offensive line. You do not run in the gut very well. You're kind of dependent on the perimeter running game. The quarterback is not very efficient. He's a first-time starter in this environment. They have a seasoned 30-year-old veteran at quarterback. It feels like upset special. I hear you, feels like.
But the recipe to beat them is also there. You put pressure on Sam Hartman and make him cough up those picks.
Haven't been able to get pressure without blitzing consistently. So now
you have to do what you got to do.
You have to make yourself vulnerable to get after him. For something that you need to happen, you need to be vulnerable. That is not a favorable position for Ohio State to be in.
But I think the DBs can handle their coverage on their own because the Notre Dame receivers are not amazing.
Okay. They're big as shit.
They're not amazing.
They're big as hell.
They're not amazing.
They're big as hell with wide catch radiuses.
They're not amazing.
Okay.
And then
the running backs?
We know Sam Hartman will cough up that ball. He threw 26 picks in the 2 years before coming to Notre Dame. 26?
Well, he's at Notre Dame now.
Sure. He may be a little bit better. He will show himself against a team that's willing to pressure him enough.
All right.
And Estime is a good running back. He's a good running back. Is he gonna fumble again? Is he gonna fumble again? Is he gonna cough up that ball? Now they got 2 other running backs behind him as well. I'm not taking anything away from their running backs, but our defense looks good.
Okay.
I'm confident.
Right. Hey, look, go compete. Don't get blown out.
Blown out.
Don't get blown out.
Relax. Not gonna happen. Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. Even talked about Colorado in the SEC. Is there any other Big Ten teams or any other Big Ten games?
What was that? No, North Carolina had a little bit of trouble with Minnesota. It took them a little bit longer than I anticipated it to, but they won by 2 scores. Was it 30-14?
It was 31-13.
31-13.
That's not bad for Minnesota's first loss.
No.
So, I'll take that. I'll take that against a UNC team that's supposed to, well, they're not going to go anywhere, but, that's at least decent.
I mean, got to beat Clemson. Got to beat Florida State.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know
see
if
what they
that's
do.
going to happen. Let's see. Big Ten schedule.
Shit, they might have to beat Duke this year. Duke out here kicking in Clemson's teeth in, even though they still didn't look good doing it.
Duke is definitely doing the damn thing. Maryland beat Virginia on Friday, 42-14.
Saw that, got down 14-0 right off the scratch again. It's the curse of Josh Gaddis, y'all. I'm telling you. I am trying to explain to y'all. That shit used to happen to us all the time our first year. We got down 21-0 to Wisconsin. We got down 21-0 to Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
That first year, Josh Gaddis was our offensive coordinator, man. It's a thing. I'm trying to tell y'all. It's Gaddis. Get that man out your locker room so that you don't ruin Leah in his last year.
Mm-hmm. And then Washington absolutely washes Michigan State, but not much surprise.
Who thought
there.
any different?
Let's see, Indiana lost. Purdue lost.
I was kind of disappointed in Purdue.
Again.
I thought they were going to beat Syracuse after that game they had with Virginia Tech last week. Probably should have won this game. But they gave up nearly 200 yards rushing to the damn quarterback.
Oh, it's nuts. That is nuts. Nebraska won against Northern Illinois, of course. Northwestern loses to Duke.
No surprise there.
And Indiana lost to Louisville, 21-14.
Yeah.
We talked about Rutgers. Oh, Rutgers beat Virginia Tech 35-16.
Rutgers is good, man. It's gonna be a good game next week.
3-0. Yeah, it's not a bad start for Greg
game
Schiano and the Scarlet Knights.
Just give us the AP and we can get out of here.
Oh shit, yeah. So Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2, Texas number 3,
Oof.
Florida State number 4, USC number 5, Ohio State and Penn State 6 and 7. Washington number 8.
So y'all didn't move.
No. Washington number 8, Notre Dame number 9, and Oregon number 10.
Number 6 versus number 9 next week.
Yep. Alabama's down to 13. 9. Tennessee didn't drop below Florida.
They dropped to 13.
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
Yep. Tennessee didn't drop below Florida despite losing to them. Tennessee is 23. Florida is 25.
Shut the heck. Well, because Florida is awful. Because they're terrible.
Yeah.
And you were previously ranked 11. Holy moly, what an overranking.
Mm-hmm.
Who was more overrated to start the season, Tennessee. LSU or Tennessee? Tell me in the comments below.
Tennessee.
I think LSU still may have a chance to do something down the line.
That's the only reason I say that.
Yeah, Tennessee seems like they're going to start Nico here in the next couple of weeks. Sorry, Joe.
Could be.
Sorry.
Any other thoughts or anything this week?
I thought that was a pretty adequate AP. I think all things equal, I think just about even Texas was struggling with Wyoming.
Yeah.
Everybody in the top 5 outside of VUSC, who was 5, struggled this week.
Yep.
Had some sort of ugliness, and even some teams just outside of the top 5. So maybe it was just a bad, chaotic week, and we can all collectively pack this one up and throw it away. And let's start over next week. Deal?
And it's the AP. Who cares?
Yeah. Good deal. Give us your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Come back next week for another House Divided episode.
Absolutely. Make sure you check out our previous video where we discussed Mel Tucker. Yikes. And make sure you stay subscribed. We like to talk about college football quite a bit, so we'll have another House Divided episode out for you guys next Thursday.
Tuck coming.
Yikes.